Dog, how you doing?
What up? What up? Yep, just another week. We got Perk going to the Senior Bowl, so he'll be out there. So a little bit more of a chill week, but for me, I'll just keep my eye on any news as the Dolphins are constructing this coaching staff under Jeff Hafley.
Be honest. Are you happy you're not going?
Either way, I like to rack up the points. I like to travel. But yeah, we split up Senior Bowl and Combine. So I go to Combine. He does Senior Bowl. He likes Senior Bowl more actually because he can make a trip to New Orleans out of it. The one time I went, I took an extra night in New Orleans myself. So yeah, that's always a good thing. And I like Indy because it's just a huge like NFL convention. Everyone from the NFL is there, and it's a nice compact downtown. That's just good for that type of event.
Do you fly in and out of New Orleans? Is that what you do?
So the one time I did, that's where I flew into and then rented a car, and then was flying back from New Orleans. So that's when I took a night New Orleans and then had the next day, whatever. So
a little trick of the trade, if you can pull it off, you fly into Biloxi and fly out of New Orleans.
Oh yeah, if you're not going to crash in New Orleans before.
You crash in New Orleans on the way back.
Yeah, on the way back, right.
That's what I'm saying. You're not going to, when you arrive, you arrive the day before the day of work. So you're, and the drive to Biloxi there is really short. It's like 40 minutes. Whereas the drive to New Orleans to Mobile is like 2 hours. So it's just, if you can get it, you get a one way into Biloxi and then the one way back, because Biloxi's got a good airport there because they've got all the casinos there, so they've got a lot of people traveling in there because of all the damn casinos, the Hard Rock, the Beau Rivage. They've got they've got several of them. I always go because sometimes they have concerts there. And I like going there to go gamble. I can actually go 40-minute drive and I go gamble for the night.
Nice.
You know what I mean? Yeah. So it's actually cool. But that's, to me, is because it saves you a lot of driving. Is my point. Right. And you're really going to use the New Orleans one on the way back, because that's what I used to do. I used to leave on Thursday and then I'd party Friday in New Orleans and fly out Saturday morning. Is nice. What I do. That's what I would do. So that spend after working all week in the Senior Bowl, I made sure I'd spend my Friday in New Orleans to have some fun and unwind, dude. Have a hurricane and an O'Brien and a cigar, and then I'm toast city at that point, and then I end up at the Cloverleaf, right? Is that the where the hamburgers are at with the hubcaps?
Ooh, I don't think I know that one.
You don't know that one?
No.
Oh, dude, you go down Bourbon Street, and it's deep. Before you get to almost the end of it, there's a little restaurant in the corner, and it's called the Cloverleaf. I believe it's called the Cloverleaf. It's got like a 4-leaf clover on it, and they cook great hamburgers there. And the guy cooks it with hubcaps that he puts over the thing while it's cooking.
Huh.
Yeah. So it's like a classic type of Pepsi, Coke like diner, from back in the day. Yeah.
Okay, I've been a few times to New Orleans, but I haven't.
The Clover Grill. That might
Clover Grill.
That might be it. If it's on Bourbon and it's called Clover, then that's it. Classic 24/7 diner on Bourbon Street. That's it. Clover Grill, it's called. That's what it's called. Clover Grill. Yeah, dude. Oh, man. After you've had a long night of drinking and screwing around, you go there and you kind of get to straighten up and walk a little straighter back to your hotel.
Yeah, right. End of the night. Yeah.
That's what I'm telling you. At the end of the night, after an O'Brien and a hurricane and a cigar, dude, I'm toast city at that point. So then I need that burger before I get back to the hotel, is what I'm trying to tell you. That's it. That's it with the Coca-Cola sign. That's it. That's the one. That's the one, dude. That is a classic place. All right. Just out of curiosity, are you enjoying the game they're playing right now at defensive coordinator?
I don't know about enjoying, but it's interesting. I mean, I wonder if this has something to do with, because I'm not entirely sure on this aspect of it. Is do they need to wait and see? Like technically, still have Anthony Weaver on staff for.
Whoa, wait a minute. There's an or? Really? There's an or? That's my point here. We're talking about the team that cheats and goes to talk to Harbaugh behind Sperano's back. We're talking about the team that gets caught trying to go after Brady and Breeze. We're talking about the team that was trying to tank. Do you think at this point already, Half has hired all the main coaches? Do you think he doesn't know who he wants a defensive coordinator? In fact, I'll top it on this. Do you not think that defensive coordinator already knows he has the job, but he can't say anything because they have to wait for Anthony Weaver to be completely out of the Arizona job so they know that they're not going to get compensation? I mean, there is no or, dude. That's why I'm asking if you're entertained, because it's pretty freaking obvious,
Right.
what's gone on. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Right, because you go special teams coordinator, you promote from within for your offensive coordinator. Now you're already going down to the position coaches. You got a wide receivers coach. You even have your defensive backs coach without your defensive coordinator yet. Even though Jeff Hafley will be calling defensive plays.
But he's the defensive guy. If any. Right. He's going to know who he wants at defensive coordinator before he knows who he wants at offensive coordinator or special teams. You know what I'm saying? So this is like, it's a joke. It's what I'm saying. Now, the Dolphins have to play it this way because they should. Why not, dude? There's no rule. And maybe there should be a rule, but there isn't a rule. So it allows you to kind of circumvent it and play this game right now. But I find it funny as hell that you filled everything out. And the position that he knows the most, you haven't hired that guy? Come on, bro. I mean,
you can put 2 and 2 together there.
It's 1 and 1, bro. I mean,
exactly.
It's not even
or 1 and 2 to make a compensatory 3rd round pick.
Yeah. It's just funny. And so what do we know about Weaver in Arizona? Does he really have it? Because I don't think he's in the running for anything else, right?
Yeah, what? All right, so we got Buffalo crossed off the list. I know he interviewed twice for both the Ravens and Steelers, and then they obviously made their hires in Minter and Mike McCarthy for Pittsburgh. So now you're down to it's Vegas, Arizona, and Cleveland, right? And then
he did the crazy shit for Cleveland.
Oh well, I'm just saying those are the 3 with openings. Now,
but he's only interviewed for one of those, right? Arizona.
Arizona's the one where I have heard the most what do you call it? Like commotion, hoopla, momentum for it. So I don't think he is still like in the running for maybe Cleveland or else Vegas. So I mean, it basically comes down to Arizona then at this point.
Yeah, and what do we know? Because obviously the Dolphins are waiting for the same thing so they can announce their defense. Because the second that Weaver announces that they're out of the running, they're going to go announce their defensive coordinator and then end this whole charade. Basically, I mean, because that's kind of what it is. It's a charade that they're playing at this point in time.
Yeah, exactly. So I mean, I think I'm right there with the Dolphins, just waiting to see what happens. So. Not have too much insight on what the Cardinals are thinking, but I think that's just what it comes down to is what Arizona does, and then you find out if you're going to get your compensatory 3rd round pick or not. I'm not sure how many other finalists there are. What was
what for Arizona?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know either. I know that he's in the running for that, and that's the only thing they're waiting for.
Yeah.
From what I know, but I don't know how many different people are in the running for the Arizona job and what they're waiting for. But again, it's just kind of interesting how.
Oh, wasn't Mike LaFleur part of it? Mike, not Matt, the brother.
Maybe. Maybe I don't know. I really don't. I'm speaking completely from ignorance in that case. I only know that he's in the running for it. He's had the 2 interviews. You got the info for us?
Yeah, it looks like Mike LaFleur,
There you go.
Anthony Campanelli, and Anthony Weaver have all completed second interviews, and it says they're heading toward the downstretch of picking a coach.
So it's wow. So it's between those 3 guys.
I'm guessing. I don't see anybody else.
So there's a 66% chance that a former Dolphin assistant coach gets the job.
And 33% that the Dolphins get compensated.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. Yes. Wow. Okay. That's interesting. Out of those 3 guys,
2 defensive guys, 1 offensive.
yeah, and I would the LaFleur guy would be out for me. It would be between Campanelli and Weaver. That's what I would pick. But that's just me. But whatever, Yes.
I'm just asking because I haven't really paid attention. Vance Joseph was a name that was mentioned with them, but since the Broncos were in, but I haven't heard anybody.
Did he have a second interview
doesn't
too?
Look like
no. I think
it look like
you.
It looks like those are the 3 that had the second interviews, but they're also been mentioned with Raheem Morris and Vance Joseph.
One key thing is who posted that?
Arizona Central.
Okay, all right. The paper. All right, cool.
Arizona Republic.
Yeah. That's cool. All right, if it's the paper, then it's a beat writer. Then, yeah. No, I just want to make sure it's not like ML football or some shit like that. It's like, yeah, God. All right. What's okay outside of the staffs? What's the next step that you're expecting? Because there's going to be free agent decisions that are going to have to be made here. I know they're going and they're finishing up, East West and now Senior Bowl coverage and all that stuff. But the draft isn't for a bit. First stage is free agency. Before we could figure out what they want to do with the draft, we got to know what they're going to do with free agency. What's your feeling? What's the plan? What do you think is going to start happening soon?
Yeah, I think first, before you even get into that, then you got to get salary cap compliant. So that's making the decision on Tua, whether it's you can find somehow a trade partner, what that means for what you have to give up in order, how much you have to pay in order to have another team trade for him. If it's a draft pick going somewhere else for salary cap implications. And then if John Eric Sullivan doesn't want to go that route, then you can outright release him pre or post June 1, determine if it's going to be the $99.2 million dead cap hit all this year or have a little bit more of a feasible cap situation for this year, make it 67 million for this season if you do it with a post June 1 designation. So you can do that combined with probably a Tyreek Hill cut, which then facilitates the how much you set yourself back with the Tua dead cap because you do stand to earn or save some money toward the cap with a release of Tyreek Hill. So those are kind of like the top roster moves. To then get yourself salary cap compliant, see if there maybe are some trade partners for some of these veterans that you could find to maybe if you want to stock up on draft picks. Sullivan has been saying that he wants to build through the draft. That's what he's going to be doing at the start of, I don't know if anyone wants to use in the building wants to use the word rebuild, but let's call it what it is. It's going to be a rebuild that he's got to take on here. So I think those are the first couple of moves that you really look for. Right now, they're probably focused on a lot of scouting between Senior Bowl this week. I know it's one of the games, East-West Shrine Bowl, coming up. I believe it might even be tonight, if I'm not mistaken. All these other like national, college, all-star exhibitions so that they can see some draft prospects, get an idea of what they want to prospects they want to look at once they get into the combine. And once you get through the combine, then you've got a couple of weeks before free agency opens, the new league year. So you want to get salary cap compliant, where right now they stand at more than $30 million over the projected salary cap. At some point between now and then, we'll also get the firm number as well, so that they know exactly what they need to get to.
Yes. By the way, they get no compensation if Weaver goes to defensive coordinator anywhere. It's only head coach. It's lateral moves mean nothing. It has to be the upgrade. That's the way it goes. Now the question that the frustrating part for me is I think Chubb gets cut because they got a freebie season. They don't need to be great next year. They need to kind of reload and reshuffle everything and clear salaries. And plus, Chubb is probably not going to be as he's not coming off an injury, so he's coming off leverage now that he played very well coming off of an injury. So a team may want him. So I don't think he needs to negotiate down his salary or anything like that. I think he's going to get released. The frustrating part is there should be 2 draft picks for the Miami Dolphins. Last year, you should have traded Calais Campbell, and this is not hindsight. I said it then, and I said it this year. You should have traded Chubb. Chubb and Tyreek were the ones that you should have traded by the deadline, but once Tyreek blew out his knee, that was done. Keeping Chubb was stupid, and this is 2 years in a row that they hung on to a player that eventually you're not going to keep, and you could have turned it into compensation.
Yeah, but I mean that's the previous regime too. So
I know
they're fighting for their jobs, so they want to keep some talent around. So yeah, that's the whole thing.
I know, but it's unreal. It's like the Heat. You sit there thinking like this team you got, like you really can compete. And why do you do that? Because a couple of years ago, you were the 8th seed, and somehow or another, by a miracle, you made it to the finals. And something like that gives you some kind of, whatever. We have the greatest coach out there. We can always do it. And it's just stupid. You live lying to yourself, basically, is what the Dolphins are doing by doing that, by hanging on to Calais Campbell when you're really not that good, by hanging on to Chubb when you're really not that good and you're just trying to fight for your job. You had already made moves this past year for future picks. Last year, you didn't do that. Last year, you were trying to compete, so you hung on to Campbell. Okay, but this year, you had already made other moves where you brought in an extra 5th rounder, an extra 3rd rounder. Okay, so you picked up 2 picks that you're going to have over the next 2 years. You made future trades. Why didn't you make the future trade for Chubb, dude? Again, to me, none of it made sense. You know what I mean? I have a problem with the Dolphins and the Heat. They don't know when to get off gravy trains, bro. They suck at that. They're horrible at getting off the gravy train. It sucks.
Yeah. Well,
the X thing was the same thing. When he got the 10 interceptions, that's when you had to trade him.
I remember you were all over that one.
Nobody wanted to trade him because they all thought that,
it's hard to see it in that moment, but you did.
It's stupid. The stupid part is to think that what are you going to get 10 interceptions every year? No, dude, this guy's always been injured. He's got problems off the field all the time. Unload him now, bro. And that these things that these teams do, and now we're going to watch Chubb walk out, and you get no compensation. Makes no sense. Just makes no sense. You know what I mean? It's like look at Tyler Hero now. When Tyler was playing that entire year, I said, trade him. I was going back and forth with Ira on this. Oh, no, trade him. They didn't trade him halfway. They didn't trade him in the offseason. Now here we are again. And now he has no value whatsoever. That's why I want Bam traded now. This is your peak with Bam, bro. If you keep holding on to Bam, then you're going to lose the value. And you're not going anywhere. You got to know when to get off the gravy train with some of these players. And that's been a problem for the Dolphins and for the Miami Heat. Sucks.
Yeah. After Tyreek and Tua, then, you're looking at Chubb. You're looking at Minka probably in that same category. Chubb, you can.
But he's cheap, right? But Minka's cheap to have him for next year, right? At least.
For what he does, yeah, because his cap number is actually about half of what Chubb's is. For a player at the same age, who produces. Now, I mean, it depends. Does the new regime see the nearly 6 million that they can save from releasing him as more desirable than his own services as I believe he's about to turn 30 or is 30. I got to check his bio, but around that number, then. It depends.
It makes sense. Makes sense what you're saying. Makes sense.
If they got to get to that number, Jason Sanders is another one. They could save 4 with him, and he was injured all season, never played. You could just figure out your kicker situation. You know, you're not tied to him the way, you know, now you're 2 special teams coordinators removed from the last one who had Jason Sanders for a regular season game. And, you know, and obviously you're the new GM and new personnel department removed from Jason Sanders, who's now in his 30s and coming off the hip injury. So, you know, the 3.9 that you could save by releasing him could be more desirable than just keeping him around. Alec Ingold is another one, but, you know, it depends what
offense. The offense. It really depends on the offense you're going to run.
Yeah. Right. What Slowick wants to do, I was struggling to remember his name. What Bobby Slowick wants to do as he takes over the offense, which he's going to have the keys to the offense with Hafley being a defensive background coach. Slowick,
if his offense is more like if his offense is more like San Francisco,
right?
You know, Strezlik or whatever the hell that guy's name is, he's a monster.
Juszczyk.
Right, whatever that guy. That guy's a monster, bro. Monster. And people loved him. I was at the Senior Bowl when he was there at that Senior Bowl, and they were big fan. Justin Strezlik, right, or something like that, or
Kyle Juszczyk.
That's it. That guy is awesome, dude. That guy. They
love Pro Bowler.
Yeah, I don't know if they thought he was going to be this good, but that was a buzz then in the Senior Bowl. Like, okay, if you need a fullback, here's one of the guys you get in the third day or whatever. And he's had a massive career, bro. Massive career. Now, I don't know if, you know, Ingles that good, but I'm just saying the role.
He's not on his level.
Yeah, nobody's at his level, but I'm saying the role, if that's what you picture, like in Shula offenses, you always had a fullback, and a fullback that can pass catch. Always. He can block and he can pass catch. You can bet your life on that all the offenses that Shula had, he always had a fullback that can pass catch and block. Always. And so it all depends. Now, back in the day, there was more prevalent to have the fullback. Yes. Nowadays, it's not as prevalent. So that's where we don't know what they're going to do.
Yeah. And he had a down year for all intents and purposes. Alec Ingold did. So, and he's not a guy that's going to produce much catching the ball out of the backfield. He's going to be a lead blocker type. So, yeah, I mean I think Slowick will be consulted on that one, and there's $3 million to save there if you do move on from Alec Ingold, and then go with still the Shanahan concepts, but maybe now or just go looking for another guy to replace his role. But you know, he's a guy possibly on the chopping block, but he's also a great leader too. So if you do want to instill a culture and a guy who actually comes from Green Bay, like literally is like born and raised in Green Bay, and you have your new coach coming from the Packers, your new GM, a longtime Packer. I mean, shoot, Ingold would have been a kid growing up in Green Bay when Sullivan was starting out his tenure with the Packers in the front office. So there are some connections there if they are keeping them around. Which, by the way, Slowick also is a Green Bay. He went to high school in Green Bay. Little known, I don't know if little known fact, but more Green Bay connections just popping out of the woodworks.
Yeah, and like you see that, you know, at first when they hired him on Saturday, I was doing a show in the middle of it, and I wasn't sure if there was a connection to it because it didn't look like it at first. And then overall, the other guys that were talked about were obvious connections to him, and they weren't the selection. They were with Slowick, and then you find out that Slowick and him had a short time together. That's the other thing. Slowick was just a quality control coach at that time. So it's not, and a defensive quality control coach, which is kind of odd. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You know, because like, okay, you were together and it was a really short window, a year or two. And then all he was a defensive quality control coach. And now you hired him to be your OC. So it's like, that's quite a, you know, it's quite a trip there. It's quite a journey. And so he must like him overall as a coach. He must respect the crap out of him as a coach.
Yeah. Well, I mean, defensive quality control while Hafley was coaching DBs. There was a season there. Right. So, I mean, yeah, they had to have worked closely for that season.
Yeah, but you're not you.
Then he
You're
went to
not,
offense. Bobby
yeah,
Slowick.
but you're not hiring him for that side of the ball when you.
Oh yeah,
That's
but
that's my point, that he must really respect his
yes.
football IQ, because he met him on the defensive side, and then he's watched him even have success on the offensive side. That's my point. My point is that he must really like him as a coach overall. Screw the side of the ball that it's on, is my point.
Yeah, right. So you saw him come up. You saw him develop as a coach, switch sides. And the Slowicks are just, football guys, because his brother, Ryan Slowick,
Right.
also was a defensive assistant coach for the Dolphins this past season too, coaching in the secondary. So, so obviously just overall football knowledge. And let's not forget, Bobby Slowick isn't too far removed from when he was like a hot shot, like rising to the OC ranks for the first time with Houston, and then was being talked about for head coaching jobs in a couple of cycles. And then obviously CJ Stroud took a little bit of a downturn the second year that they were together. And, some of the play calling went awry in Houston. So he had to take a bump down from OC, had a year here with as senior passing game coordinator, and then now back in the OC ranks. So, I respect it for a guy who he's still young as a 38-year-old coach, and then that maybe he took his lumps a little bit the first stint as OC, as he was this fast riser that everyone loved, and he'll be able to coach up this Shanahan offense, which is really what Hafley wants that side of the ball to look like. As he's a defensive coach, but he kind of had an idea of just the principles that they wanted on offense of. Let the O-line go get a push, be physical in the run game, be physical overall as an offense. So you can kind of look like the 49ers do, how Mike McDaniel, when he stuck with the run, how the Dolphins offense was looking when they had that stretch of going to it. So, and it's good for the players who are still here. A lot of the offensive players that aren't being turned over to with the new regime coming in, they're in the same offense, a lot of the same principles, so they'll be able to work under Slowick pretty well, you would imagine.
All right, one more thing before I let you go. Joe Brady just got hired. I definitely wanted him here as that was one of my targets for the Dolphins. They had him on the list, but I guess he didn't make the cut. If he can build a staff, I know he can coach offense. I know he can coach QBs. That's already proven. If he can build a staff, this is a problem for the Dolphins. I mean, they started a wacky search, and I was going to laugh my ass off if they hired like Phillip Rivers or something like that. And I was going to go, okay, this is going to be a mess. But they actually, it's kind of like the Dolphins. The Dolphins started off as a mess. 3 GMs from San Fran, keeping McDaniel. They had one plan. It failed. The Harbaugh thing, that failed. And then they kind of, in a wacky way, they ended up with a more logical approach with John Eric Sullivan and a fresh start instead. And I think the Bills did the same thing, a wacky approach, and they actually ended up with a very logical selection in Joe Brady. Your thoughts on it?
And what a rise for Joe Brady, the product of South Florida, went to Everglades High in Broward in Miramar. And he goes in first after, he was this hotshot coach when he was with LSU and coaching up Joe Burrow there to that national title, gets an OC job like that with the Carolina Panthers. Couple years there, didn't go the right way for him to then quickly catapult into the head coaching ranks. All right, he had to go back down to quarterbacks coach. Then just what an end move for him to then, all right, he takes over for Ken Dorsey in a year and a half in there as Ken Dorsey didn't have the offense humming early in that 2023 season. He takes over as OC then. He gets the offense back up and running. They go for a run later that season. Then it turns out Sean McDermott hired the guy, just not only when he was quarterbacks coach and then took over for Ken Dorsey, but then hired the guy that would eventually be his own replacement as the Bills eventually moved on from McDermott. And then Brady was right there as the guy that was just rising. And someone who knows Josh Allen well, has worked with him for now, what would that be, like 4 going on 5 years together. So clearly Josh Allen had some input in that room as he was allowed into the process as a franchise quarterback. And then the $1 million question will now be, like with any first-time head coach, like you mentioned, is can he build a staff? Can he get the right guys to lead the defensive side of the ball? so that then they could piece together that side, as I think he's going to do very well for Josh Allen and get him back on the right track and stop some of those turnovers, which we know he goes up and down with this as far as when he's not turning the ball over, he's tremendous. And then you have games like he had against Denver where that turnover problem rears its ugly head and you're right back to it with him. So some consistency for him with the coaching aspect, and then you got to get the defense figured out, and then Buffalo could be a real contender again in the near future.
Yeah, not good for Miami. All right, I hope he's a screw up. Anyway, follow him on Twitter at David Furones _ and catch his work there at the South Florida Sun Sentinel. David, we will catch up on Friday, my friend. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Sounds good.
You got it. Welt Rheaume, Jeff Welt, Daniel Rheaume. They are the bookend tackles. They know how to get it done. 954-966-4646. Sadly, we have a lot of people dealing with bankruptcy. Don't be ashamed. It can happen to me. It can happen to you. It can happen to anybody. Call them 954-966-4646. Get those creditors off your back. Homeowner property damage, condo damage, personal injury, business owner claims. Call Jeff Welt and Daniel Rheaume. They have their own adjusters. Remember, if you call the insurance company, the first thing they're going to do, they're going to send their own adjusters. They're working for the insurance company, not for you. Call Welt Rheaume instead. Never call the insurance companies. They'll send their adjusters. Their adjusters will find out exactly what you need, what you deserve to get paid, and then Welt Rheaume will call the insurance company on your behalf. You never have to deal with the insurance company. That is a beautiful thing. Criminal defense, whatever it is, 954-966-4646.